Bulgaria, Cambodia, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Croatia, Georgia, Hong Kong, Hungary, Indonesia, Ireland, Lithuania, Philippines, Portugal, and etc. And next month, an elephant welfare workshop in Thailand. Valerie has worked as a research animal care supervisor in Massachusetts General Hospital, zookeeper at San Diego Wild Animal Park, behavioral research technician at San Diego Zoo, and enrichment consultant. Valerie has served on the International Conference of Environmental Enrichment Committee since 1997 and was a founding director of the Bird Care Group, serving on the board from 2007 to 2014. Valerie holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Biology, with an emphasis in zoology, from San Diego State University, and an associate degree as a veterinary technician from State University of New York, Delhi.
Now? Okay. Thank you, Catalina, for the... I tell the people in my workshop I've lived a long time, so I have had a chance to do a lot. For those of you at the workshop, if you have your book, there will be just a couple of slides, and then we go right to page 5, okay? Okay. I am going to talk about physical fitness, but I really like always when we talk about welfare to put this slide up first. Because I think this animal looks like she's being a cheerleader for welfare, right? Yeah? Zero. Yay, thank you. Right, she's big, she has her hands up, big smile. Yeah? Does anybody know this behavior, what it means? I mean, she's excited. She probably has great welfare, right? What's the behavior? Yeah, loud. It's defense, it's aggression, exactly. This is just about the last thing you see before she attacks. And what you don't see in this picture is just over here, there's a dog about to eat her. Now that you know that, how's her welfare, do you think? Yeah, not so good. Okay? We use these examples constantly, as you've heard from everybody this week. You must know your animal. You must know the species, you must know the behavior, how they make a living in the wild, and the individuals that you're working with. And thank you, Maria Camila, wherever you are, for doing such a good job of talking about our ethical responsibility. Or whatever that guy is. Okay? Everybody. Not just the zoo animals, but the food as well. Okay? Alright. I honestly don't know what. There's still a lot of definitions of welfare out there. And I'm waiting for you experts to come up with one really good one. I'm going to wait a long time, David says. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't do it, so. But this is one of the better ones, I think comes from AZA, just so you have a chance to see a definition at some point. But from a practical standpoint, which is what I deal with, we try to think about welfare in these 3 ways. For the mental health, the things in orange are just some examples of what we mean by that. Okay? Stimulating the hippocampus, allowing the animal to develop coping skills, stimulating them mentally, and as so many people have spoken, hopefully reducing these abnormal and stereotypic behavioral health, everybody has talked about increasing appropriate behaviors and decreasing the negative behaviors. Trying to connect the behavior people talk about. There's a stimulus, I'm hungry. There's a behavioral response, I go look for food. And the expected outcome is I find food. This chain is broken frequently in our zoo animals. So we can use enrichment to make that connection again. And as has been mentioned, learning to adapt and cultural transmission. Okay, so finally, the third section we want to talk about. Some of you have already actually seen most of this talk, so feel free to go get some coffee or something. It hasn't changed that much. But I do want to talk, I was asked to talk today about physical health and physical enrichment. So over the years, this talk is developed with collaboration with two other instructors, Mark Jones and Chris Hales. And I want to give those some credit. Okay. A lot of veterinarians and keepers and nutritionists make these body condition scorings, right? So you can track their physical health. But what you're really tracking is thinness to obesity for the most part, yeah? That tends to be the focus. This animal, a little too big, yeah? But I think we really need to start looking at what's going on inside, in addition to just obesity. So I'm a carnivore guy, so most of the examples you're going to see are from carnivores. This is a zoo tiger in a zoo in the US. Very healthy. Excellent veterinary care. No parasites, no dental problems, eyesight, beautiful. No disease. The coat is beautiful. Everything's great. But I want to point your attention, I've lost the clip, to these points here. And just look at the muscle tone there, okay? Zoo tiger, healthy. Healthy, physically healthy zoo tiger. Wild tiger. Can you see the difference? Same points. Yeah? Can you see the difference? Yeah, okay. So that's what this talk is about. It's trying to go from this to a little bit closer to this. Because being healthy and being fit are not the same thing. Okay. One thing we always like to talk about, though, is how important the environment that your animals grow up in is. This is an example that comes to us from Mark. For these clouded leopards, this animal is so skilled at moving through the thick forest, climbing the trees. In fact, they are one of only 2 species of cat that can climb down head first, like the margay, because their wrists move like a squirrel's. So, we start with the case of 2 6-month-old cubs that were raised by humans. And at 6 months, they went to a zoo. They moved into a complex enclosure, and they were unable to manage this. Look how difficult. This is a simple stationary platform, and at 6 months, they can barely manage it. Okay? Now we're going to look at 2 3-month-old cubs, just 3 months, in the same enclosure, but they're raised by mother and have lived their whole life here. There's no way that other cubs can do that, right? And then mom house. You have to understand this action right there was taking place, I I'm going to guess 5 meters up. Okay. Now, the same two cubs, these ones, the 3 months, at 6 months of age. This is the same age as the first two you saw. Much more physically fit, yeah? It's important. You don't have to let the animals hurt themselves, but it's important to give them opportunities to grow up and to develop these skills to begin with. Okay. So we always talk about goals for your enrichment in shape. And we think of them as both general and specific. So in this case, I want to talk about encouraging the type of activities that you want and the appropriate level of those activities. And specifically, we want to look at agility and just flat out physical exercise. Okay? Current examples? Very nice. We use this for lots of animals, by the way, both. Lots of species. Also nice, the ball. There's a lot of things you can do to encourage them to move around and get activity, okay? But my question to you is this really enough? Yeah? Are we going to get them to that wild tiger, Arnold Schwarzenegger, with these kinds of enrichment? And I think maybe the answer is no. So we want to spend the rest of the time looking at some examples, first of non-food enrichment, and then of food enrichment activities to encourage them to develop this muscles and agility. We can have them working against each other. Okay? By the way, the female one. She got it, eventually. It took her about 25 minutes.